Welcome to the Inward Investing Podcast. I'm Mike Ritter.
And I'm Todd Whalen.
And today we are bringing Keto Part 2.
Part 2.
So last episode we talked about the keto diet, how popular it is, and what were your takeaways,
Todd? For lifestyle change, it could be good in the short term. Maybe body composition, but performance, NA. No way.
No way. So a lot of the research, again, this is constantly evolving, but performance-wise, keto has its advantages and disadvantages, generally in like high-octane athletic performance, not so well. Weightlifting, like bodybuilding or slower weightlifting, could have a huge potential, and then body fat loss. Some medical benefits to it, like epileptic seizures. And let me get my phone here. I got my little graphic. A lot of benefits as far as epileptic seizures, some people who are dealing with Alzheimer's, some cognitive benefits. If you're dealing with memory issues or something like that, it's potentially a good one, but always seek out a doctor's advice.
Yes, question for you. Do you think it's the lack of sugar and processed foods, or more so keto, and like the ketosis that's happening?
I wonder.
For like some of those things.
I wonder. Now, Dominic D'Agostino is a guy that I mentioned in part one, and he's a researcher that's based out of USF. A really bright guy, practices keto himself. He's very present online. He'd be the guy to go to on that. And a lot of his research is directly related to ketone bodies' effects on those specific issues. So as far as the medical benefit, I think it has more to do with the ketones. When somebody shifts from a fat loss perspective to ketones or a ketogenic diet and using ketones primarily for energy, then you are probably eliminating a lot of processed foods, probably eliminating high carbohydrate loads, which could help. But having that consistent carbohydrate loading, which is like part of the standard American lifestyle, and just switching it is kind of, in my opinion, a more human way to eat also, just having general shifts throughout the year. So I think it is pretty important for us to change the way we eat from time to time. I think it does mimic a lot of natural human behavior. I think it mimics a lot of the way food has naturally been available to us in rhythms in different parts of the year. We've rarely have human beings have the same food source constantly throughout the year, unless maybe you're around the equator, which had a consistent weather pattern.
And almost like equal weather pattern.
Equator. What? From our geological expert. But I guess to recap a few more things from the first episode. Number one, first of all, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. We covered a lot of ground there.
Now, go do it.
But we'll pause.
Good job.
And good job. We're back. And the keto is short for ketogenic diet, and it's when your body essentially switches from using glucose or sugar as energy to ketone bodies. So there are three types of ketones. One is acetoacetate, number one, or ACAC for short if you're looking it up online. Beta hydroxybutyrate, that's kind of like the major fuel source of ketones. That's the one that's considered like the super fuel. That's the one that lights your brain on fire and you feel a lot of energy from ketones. And then acetone is spontaneously created as a side product of acetoacetate. So one of the main ones you need to measure, if you're measuring, again, we highly recommend you measure and test ketones. We highly recommend you do that because beta hydroxybutyrate is extremely important in this whole picture. Now, in order to consider yourself in ketosis, nutritional ketosis begins right around 0.5 millimolars ketones. So that's when you start experiencing the benefits, maybe even fat loss effects of ketosis. Unless you're at 0.5, if you're under that, you might not be feeling the effects, and that's when people can start feeling the low-carb flu part of keto. The optimal ketone zone, as far as my references go, is anywhere above the 1.0, maybe even 1.2 range, all the way up to, say, 2.5. Post-exercise ketosis can get up to 3.0. And that's about as high as you want to see in like a successful keto diet. Like ideally your eating pattern, your macro base, how many grams of protein you eat, how many grams of carbohydrates you eat, and how many grams of fat you eat should all equal more ketone bodies in your bloodstream. Now, there's two ways to test this. One is with urine strips, and one is with blood. Now, blood is a little bit finicky for people. Okay? You got to prick yourself with a needle. People are a little afraid of the pain. It can be a little bit of an issue affording it. Now, urine strips are inexpensive. They're widely available. A lot of stores, especially because keto is more popular now, it's inexpensive to manufacture. Therefore, it's inexpensive to sell. Therefore, they're more widely available. They're quick, easy, and practical. They're non-invasive and very convenient. Now, there's disadvantages to using urine strips, and one is that they can be messy. I don't know if you've ever used them before, but if you can imagine peeing on a stick,
I don't even think it's a stick. It's a little tiny little thing.
Yeah, it's like a wet piece of paper
that you're holding.
While
you pee.
So now another issue though is that you are dealing with urine, and urine can be a little more volatile than blood. So changes in hydration can affect ketone levels. Certain medications such as penicillamine can also cause false positives. Acidic urine caused by vitamin C supplements can falsely affect your results. Over time, keto adaptation leads to changes in urine ketone levels, but not very quickly. At higher concentrations, urine ACAC, the acetoacetate, and beta-hydroxybutyrate levels do not correlate. And finally, rapid changes in blood ketone levels are not accurately reflected in the measurement of urine ketone levels. Ingestion of exogenous ketones, specifically beta-hydroxybutyrate, for example, rapidly induces ketones. So the vast majority of exogenous beta-hydroxybutyric acid is burned for energy in the body, and very little is excreted. So there is an issue with the urine strips, and if your goal is to get into ketosis and therefore measure how ketotic you are. I made up that word last podcast, so I'm going to continue using it.
Because my name's in it.
Yeah, ketodic. And if the goal is to get there, you want to be able to accurately measure that. So given the fact that we do have a YouTube channel now, and this podcast is broadcast live in video also, I wanted to actually measure our ketones online, and we are going to test exogenous ketones. Now, exogenous ketones are supplemented ketones outside of the body. If you're having trouble getting into, hello on YouTube, if you're having trouble getting into ketosis, the supplement is a way to help that along. And so it can also help you avoid the low carb flu, the kind of transition effect, say that you're a type 2 diabetic or maybe a pre-diabetic or somebody who's just eating carbs for a very, very long time, eating a carb-heavy diet, and you're switching. There can be a point where you do not feel great for a period of time, and I've seen it last up to 7 days or so. They call it the low-carb flu. Exogenous ketones are a way to do that. Now, if you have an issue with pricking your finger, maybe the urine strips are the way to go, but blood strips are definitely more effective at doing that. So I'm going to actually test my ketones. You're going to test your ketones today. We are going to consume different exogenous ketone supplements and then test our ketones at the very end. Are you ready for this? Are you squeamish at all? Are you worried about testing your...
So worried.
So worried? All right.
I'll just get a tattoo and use that blood.
So I'm using Precision Extra ketone monitor, and then we have our blood strips, which are right here. Okay, and we're going to prick our finger, insert this into the Precision Extra ketone monitor, and test exactly where we are prior to consuming that beverage. Okay, so I'm going to put my finger right on the lancet. Pop. There we
And
go.
no blood. Mike is not human.
That is the worst. When you do prick your finger,
And you have no blood.
you have to wiggle it a little bit, get that nice drop going. So you have to get a little more than that. The worst thing is wasting a strip. Like when you, there we go.
Get that blood out.
There we go. I don't know if I can see it on camera here.
No, there's no way you're going to see that on camera. It's a dot.
I'll have to zoom in maybe. Yeah. It's just a little dot. You got to get a little bit more than that because if I do this once and there's not enough blood, it wastes the strip. And these strips are expensive.
And we
Gotta wiggle the
may or
finger a
may
little
not
more.
have just enough strips to do this.
We have just enough. All right. That should be enough.
It reads it.
Fill it all the way up. Come on.
Mike has weak blood.
Oh, no.
Are you kidding me?
There we go. Got it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.2.
What's it got to be?
I am not in nutritional ketosis. It has to be 0.5 to be in nutritional ketosis. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to do the same thing with Todd.
To put this little strip in?
So, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Just open it right now.
It's open.
Okay. So, we're going to put your lancet in. So, a lancet,
It's just
or the
anywhere.
needle, here, I'll show you here. So,
Don't get your blood on me.
so take the top off. Okay. You're going to put it in.
Oh, that's sharp.
There we go. So, you want to move it down to that little notch.
All right. Or also to go.
And you're going to give
through
it,
my finger.
yep. And, yeah, you don't want to get
Like
too
that
much because
far
then it
or
really
lower?
hurts. That's good.
Right.
So did you lock it down? I'm using my 2 other fingers. So you want to give it a test run to make sure that it's the right length. So when I snap it, so when
How
you
do we
push the
snap
button,
it? This?
yep, the white button there. Okay, so
I
that's
see
not
nothing.
enough. Yep, so that wouldn't have worked.
Oh, I get it.
So you take the top off. And since I've already measured, I'm
Pick
going
it
to
up a
start
little.
drinking my ketones.
Pick it up.
Yep, you pull it up a little bit, and then you'll have to push it down until it snaps in.
Yep. All right.
Give it another test run. Dropped my
Still
top.
no needle. Oh, I should probably push it down and then pull it up a little bit, right? Because I keep pushing it in. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, so you don't want to. You want to push it down, but you don't want to push it down so far that it slides the needle back down again. Up.
Up more?
Just. Let me see. Let me see.
Just a little bit?
Slightly more, because
I have
the worst thing is that when
gorilla
it just
hands.
barely. Yeah, you have very callous hands. If you're doing this at home, you might want to consider like the the frailty of your skin. If you have really thin skin, well, a little bit will do good. Do
I think
well.
it went down lower.
You went down further.
Hashtag edit this.
So
I need it practically all the way up.
it's harder than it looks. All right, so that's good. So snap it back down without sliding the needle too much.
That's the hardest part. Yeah, I slid it down, but I just pulled it up like that. I kind of looked where it was. So.
By the way, prior to doing this show, I took my glucose levels, and
Nice.
it wasn't fasted. I took them after a meal, and so it's not a fasted glucose level, but it was after a meal, about
So
an hour,
Here or here?
right at the tip of the finger.
Right there. Oh, wait, so I got to get this thing in there now?
Yeah.
And I am
There you go. So we're gonna
Worked out.
slide it in.
previous to this.
Yep. All right. So prick the finger.
I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Push
Like
it
right
in there.
here?
Yep. Push it in there. Oh! All right, so wiggle it. Let the blood pool up. There you go. That's a good amount. There
Lots
it is.
of blood. Lots of blood.
There you go. All right. So register it in there. Push it in. There you go. Hold it there. It's going to give you a countdown. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Point two. All right. So we're both sitting at point 2. Exogenous ketones it is.
Oh, wait. So I'll do mine first again. Oh, no. You'd have to do yours first.
Yeah. So pull. Yep.
This stuff would be quicker the second time. So. All right. So now.
So now we drink our exogenous ketones, and we have 2 different brands. So why don't you explain yours?
All right. So mine is a brand by Perfect Keto. It's not just the exogenous salts like Mike is drinking. Mine is called Keto Nootropic. So it has some other like brain boosting things in there. But it does have magnesium, sodium, and calcium beta hydroxybutyrate. It also has some MCT oils, which are very good, and some grass-fed hydrolyzed bovine. I also have some whey protein isolate in there because it is my post-workout shake. So I'm going to chug mine. So then I'll probably have to run to the bathroom in the middle of this.
And mine is by Level Up. It's called Keto Boost, exogenous ketones. I have 0 calories, 0 carbohydrates, 0 sugar, 1,425 grams of calcium, 17 milligrams. I'm sorry, that's 1,425 milligrams. If I said grams, those milligrams. Sodium, 17 milligrams. Magnesium, 360 milligrams. 10,000 milligrams of tri-blend exogenous ketone matrix. Calcium beta hydroxybutyrate. Magnesium beta hydroxybutyrate. Sodium beta hydroxybutyrate. So I'm definitely higher on the exogenous ketone level. But we will see how this goes. And we're going to see what our ketones look like in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. So mine has 70 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, 5 grams of protein. It's got some vitamins, some B vitamins, some different minerals and stuff like that. Theanine, which I know Mike is huge on for the brain.
Theanine is a tremendous
But like I said, so mine has the MCT oil, which maybe will help get my ketones into my blood faster.
Helps the metabolism of ketones from the liver into the rest of the body.
I feel my brain working already.
Test them. Go ahead. Well, we will revisit you guys in about 30 to 45 minutes. All right, and we're back, and we have taken about a 45-minute break to let our exogenous ketones set in. And I want to point out, though, like if we were to do this really scientifically, we would have both eaten the same thing, slept the same amount of hours, taken the exact same supplement, and seen how it panned out. There probably would have been a lot more controls. But I think the point of what I'm trying to achieve, what we're trying to get across here, is what happens when the average person decides to do a keto diet and they just jump on the first day, start consuming supplements, and see what happens to your ketones 30 to 45 minutes later. What actual effect does it have?
Or if someone just buys ketogenic supplements without being keto.
Without being keto, right. So important note, Todd and I do not follow a keto diet. So we're trying to see the effect of ketogenic supplements. And I'm going to do the first test now. Ow!
That one hit his bone, folks. That one hit the finger
That
bone.
was deep. That one was deep. Ow.
See, Mike,
Oh, a lot more blood on this one, though. A lot more blood. That is juicy. That is special.
I had more. Mine was
You
better.
had more? No, I'm going to squeeze
better.
more out then. If I squeeze my finger really hard, I get a lot more
Oh,
blood
look
out.
at that now.
There we go. That's a pull. Michael Phelps could swim through that. All right, here we go. First
we
retest. 45 minutes later.
10,
9,
Eight.
8, 7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2.
1. We got ahead of the counter. Point four. I bet if I waited a little longer, I'd be in nutritional ketosis. How about that? Had immediate effect. All right, now Todd, Waylon, you are up. Waylon Training and Fitness.
Clean your
lancet.
Did you even test that one?
Did I what?
Did you do a test to see if it was the right height?
Yeah, I spent a bit of time during the break trying to get it right. During the break, Todd went out into the gym and started flirting with some girl.
She was 2 months old. AKA special guest appearance last episode, Blaze.
What's the earliest age we can get Blaze her own ketone testing kit?
I'm going to do it right now. All right, same finger, Mike?
Same finger, or you can do a different finger. It doesn't matter, as long as it's clean. I washed my hands during the break.
I don't know if anything is clean on me. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Press it in there.
It's so nerve-wracking.
All right, yes.
Oh, no.
That's
there
good.
There we go.
That's good. That's rich. Such dark blood. The blood is so
Yes,
dark.
it's so thick with ketones. That's why. Ooh, that's not a good one. I don't think.
Wiggle the finger. You got to wiggle. You got to wiggle. Get some movement in there. There you go. There you go.
Squeeze the blood up.
Yeah, on YouTube,
wow.
show that to YouTube. That's a lot.
There we go.
Don't let it drip off. Don't let it drip off. Oh, that's pull. Oh my God. I think that's technically a wound.
I've wounded myself. But we're counting down. 6, 5,
4,
3,
2,
1. 0.4.
0.4. We are tied.
Woo!
Unfortunately, folks, we have run out of lancets. We won't be going to sudden death. Maybe each episode going forward, we can continue.
We could do a longer. We could drink our drink beforehand.
The race to 1.5, which is that is disgusting. Todd is licking the blood off of his
How
finger.
else do you clean the blood off your finger?
With like sanitation wipes and
My mouth is sanitarily sanitized.
there's more bacteria in your mouth than anywhere else on Earth.
Earth. Wow.
That's terrible.
Wow.
On that note, we are going to end in a tie, unfortunately, folks. So we will see you next time. What's our topic next time? Have we decided yet? We have a guest coming up, which I will be announcing online. If you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, once we get that locked down, I will be announcing our next guest. And if you have any more questions about a ketogenic diet, which again I just mentioned I am not following. However, I did do a solid 3 months in two separate time periods last year. And if you want to see my photo during the time period where I was doing keto, I was a little bit ripped and did a photo op. If you want to see that as proof whether or not you can lose fat on a keto diet, you absolutely can. Right now, my goal is to manage stress and life and not think about my food as much. I do track my macros, but I'm not doing keto just because of the excessive weighing and measuring that I had to do during it. So that's just a personal choice. But again, if that's something you want to do or it's something that you want to pursue, I'm definitely not opposed to it. Just make sure you are measuring. Use your lancets safely, cleanly. Read the directions. And exogenous ketones can help you to a degree. So last disclaimer, though, they won't replace good solid macros. You have to freaking eat like a keto diet to maximize.
Yes.
So as you saw, it got us. If we waited a little longer, it might get us a little higher than 0.5, but it's definitely not going to get you into the feel great range and the huge benefits of keto unless you actually measure your macros and your food. So any closing thoughts, Todd?
No, you nailed it on the head. Eat real food, and like you said, these are supplements to just help. You know, they're not the end-all, be-all and everything like that. So just eat real food, track everything, make sure you get strips, get a little monitor, make sure you track yourself, your ketones and everything like that to make sure you're actually in ketosis. Because you could have eaten a keto breakfast this morning, and, oh, yeah, didn't have any carbs, I'm keto, and you're at 0.2. So
Yeah.
hashtag not keto.
Exactly. That's exactly what I ate this morning, which was just eggs, which I guess you consider a keto breakfast.
Yeah, so you should have been in ketosis since then.
But yesterday I had 250 grams of carbs, though, so I don't know if that was enough time.
Yeah, you know.
Any other keto questions, please send them to inwardinvesting@gmail.com. We're going to sign off for this week. I'm Mike Ritter.
I'm Todd Whalen.
And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.